Part 1. Welcome to the 30-Day Challenge. Hello, my friend, and welcome back to Daniel English Avenue. Before we begin today's podcast, I want you to imagine something very simple. Imagine waking up exactly 30 days from today and suddenly realizing that speaking English no longer feels scary. Imagine understanding more English videos, reading English more comfortably, and expressing your thoughts with confidence instead of hesitation. Imagine introducing yourself, asking questions, and having conversations without constantly worrying about making mistakes. At first, this may sound like a dream, especially if you have been learning English for a long time without seeing the progress you hoped for. However, what if I told you that the biggest change in your English does not come from studying harder? It comes from studying consistently. That is exactly why today's podcast is different. Today, we are not talking about learning English someday. We are beginning a 30-day journey together, one small step at a time. Many English learners believe they need expensive courses, perfect grammar, or hundreds of vocabulary books before they can speak confidently. Because of this belief, they spend years collecting information without actually using the language. They memorize word lists, watch countless grammar lessons, and download many learning apps. But when someone asks them a simple question in English, they become nervous and forget almost everything they have learned. If this has ever happened to you, please do not feel discouraged, because you are not alone. The problem is usually not intelligence, and it is certainly not your ability to learn. The real problem is that many learners study English as a school subject instead of using it as a daily skill. A language grows stronger when it becomes part of your everyday life, just as walking becomes easier the more often you walk. Now imagine having a patient learning partner who never becomes tired of your questions, never laughs at your mistakes, and is always ready to practice English with you. This is one reason why many learners enjoy using ChatGPT. Think of it as a conversation partner that is available whenever you want to practice. You can ask simple questions, request explanations, practice conversations, improve your grammar, or even ask for new vocabulary related to your daily life. Instead of waiting for the perfect opportunity to speak English, you can begin practicing today, wherever you are, and at your own pace. The goal is not to depend completely on technology, but to use it as a helpful tool that encourages regular practice and builds your confidence day after day. Before we continue, I want you to make one promise to yourself. For the next 30 days, stop worrying about speaking perfect English. Perfection is not our goal. Progress is our goal. Every learner who speaks English confidently today once made hundreds of mistakes. Those mistakes were not signs of failure. They were signs of learning. A mistake simply shows that you are trying something new, and every new attempt teaches your brain how to improve. Instead of asking yourself, "What if I make a mistake?" begin asking yourself, "What can I learn today?" This small change in your thinking can completely transform your learning journey because it replaces fear with curiosity. One beautiful thing about learning English is that you do not need large blocks of free time. Many people believe they must study for 2 or 3 hours every day, and when they cannot find that much time, they give up before they even begin. The truth is much simpler. 15 or 20 minutes of focused practice every day is far more valuable than studying for several hours only once a week. Learning is like watering a plant. A little water every day helps it grow stronger, while pouring a large amount of water only once cannot replace daily care. Your English develops in exactly the same way. Small daily practice creates lasting improvement because it trains your brain to think naturally in the language. Our 30-day challenge is built on this simple idea. Every day has a purpose, but none of the activities are difficult. On the first few days, you will practice introducing yourself, describing your surroundings, and speaking about your daily routine. These simple conversations may appear too easy, but they create the foundation for everything else you will learn later. Just as a strong house needs a strong foundation before the walls are built, fluent English begins with simple sentences used confidently and naturally. During the second week, you will begin expanding your vocabulary through real-life situations. Instead of memorizing random words, you will learn vocabulary connected to your kitchen, your workplace, your family, your hobbies, your shopping experiences, and your everyday activities. This approach makes learning easier because your brain remembers information more effectively when it is connected to experiences you already understand. Every new word becomes useful immediately because you begin using it in complete sentences instead of keeping it hidden inside a notebook. Another important part of this challenge is speaking aloud. Many learners silently read English for years, but rarely hear their own voices speaking the language. Reading silently helps your understanding, but speaking aloud trains your mouth, your ears, and your confidence at the same time. At first, hearing your own English may feel uncomfortable. This is completely normal. Every confident speaker once felt exactly the same way. The more often you speak aloud, the more natural your pronunciation becomes, and the more comfortable you feel expressing your thoughts without hesitation. Throughout this journey, I also encourage you to keep a small notebook or a digital journal. Every evening, write 5 or 6 simple sentences about your day. They do not need to be perfect. You might write, "Today I woke up early. I made breakfast. I worked hard. I learned 3 new English words. I feel proud because I practiced every day." These small daily reflections strengthen your grammar, expand your vocabulary, and help you think directly in English instead of translating every idea from your native language. Most importantly, remember that this challenge is not a competition against other learners. It is a personal journey toward becoming a better version of yourself. Some people will learn faster, while others will need more time. Both paths are completely normal. The only comparison that truly matters is between the person you are today and the person you were yesterday. If you know one more word today, understand one more sentence today, or speak with just a little more confidence today, then you are already moving forward. Over the next 30 days, we will explore practical speaking exercises, daily vocabulary habits, listening practice, pronunciation techniques, simple grammar, confidence-building activities, and realistic conversations that you can use immediately in everyday life. By the end of this journey, you may not speak perfect English, but you will speak with greater confidence, better understanding, and a stronger belief in your own ability to continue improving. So, take a deep breath, smile, and remember that every fluent English speaker began exactly where you are now. The journey starts with a single sentence, a single conversation, and a single decision to keep learning. Today is day 1, and together we are taking the first step toward a future where English becomes a natural part of your everyday life. Part 2, days 1 to 10. Building strong English habits, 10 to 20 minutes. Now that we have begun this 30-day journey together, it is time to take the next step. Many learners become excited during the first few days of learning English. They watch motivational videos, download new learning apps, and create beautiful study plans. Everything feels exciting because the journey is new. However, after a few days, life becomes busy again. Work, school, family responsibilities, and unexpected problems slowly begin to take away the time they had planned for learning. This is the moment when many people stop practicing, not because they have lost the ability to learn, but because they have lost the habit of learning. That is why the first 10 days of our challenge are not about learning thousands of new words. They are about building a daily habit that becomes part of your life. A habit is something you do almost automatically without spending much energy thinking about it. Think about brushing your teeth every morning. You probably do not need someone to remind you because it has become part of your routine. Learning English can become exactly the same. Instead of treating it as a difficult task, you will slowly make it a natural part of your everyday activities. This is one of the biggest secrets behind successful language learners. They do not always study for many hours. They simply practice consistently every day. On the first day, keep everything simple. Open ChatGPT and write a short introduction about yourself. Tell it your name, where you are from, what you do, and why you want to learn English. Then ask ChatGPT to correct your grammar while keeping your sentences simple. Read the corrected version aloud several times. Listen carefully to your own voice. At first, you may feel shy or uncomfortable. That feeling is completely normal because your brain is doing something new. Every confident English speaker once felt exactly the same way. Confidence grows each time you practice, not each time you wait. On the second day, begin describing your surroundings. Look around your room and speak about everything you can see. You might say that there is a table beside the window, a chair near the desk, a bottle of water on the table, or a bag hanging behind the door. These sentences may sound very easy, but they are incredibly powerful because they train your brain to connect English directly with real objects instead of translating every word into your native language. This is how children naturally learn their first language, and it is also an effective way for adults to improve. On the third day, begin speaking about your daily routine. Describe everything you normally do from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep. Talk about waking up early, brushing your teeth, preparing breakfast, traveling to work or school, spending time with your family, exercising, reading, or relaxing before bed. If you do not know a particular word, simply ask ChatGPT to explain it using simple English. This approach allows you to learn vocabulary that is immediately useful because it comes directly from your own life. As the fourth day arrives, begin asking yourself simple questions in English. You can ask, "What am I doing right now?" Then answer, "I am listening to an English podcast." Ask another question such as, "What did I do yesterday?" Then answer using simple past tense. These self-conversations may seem unusual at first, but they prepare you for real conversations because your brain begins practicing both questions and answers. When you eventually speak with another person, you will notice that your responses come more naturally. By the fifth day, you may begin noticing something interesting. Speaking English feels slightly easier than it did a few days ago. This improvement may seem very small, but never underestimate small progress. Imagine climbing a mountain. Every step appears tiny while you are taking it, yet after many steps you eventually reach the top. Language learning follows the same pattern. Every sentence you speak today becomes part of your future confidence. During the sixth day, begin learning vocabulary through themes instead of random lists. Choose one topic, such as food. Ask ChatGPT to teach you 20 useful words related to food using simple definitions and easy example sentences. Instead of memorizing the list, create your own sentences. If you learn the word vegetable, you might say, "I buy vegetables every Sunday," or "My favorite vegetable is carrots." When vocabulary is connected to personal experiences, your memory becomes much stronger. The seventh day is dedicated to listening. Choose a short English podcast or listen again to today's episode. As you listen, avoid worrying about understanding every single word. Focus on understanding the main idea. After listening, tell ChatGPT what you understood using your own words. Even if your explanation is simple, you are training one of the most important language skills. Remember, understanding the message is more valuable than understanding every word. On the eighth day, practice shadowing. Shadowing means listening to one sentence and immediately repeating it using the same rhythm and pronunciation. Do not worry if your pronunciation is not perfect. The goal is simply to become comfortable speaking continuously. Ask ChatGPT to provide 10 short sentences for shadowing practice. Repeat each sentence several times until it begins to feel natural. This exercise improves pronunciation, listening, and speaking at the same time. By the 9th day, begin writing a short diary in English. Do not write long paragraphs. Write 6 or 7 meaningful sentences about your day. Describe what happened, how you felt, what you learned, and what you hope to do tomorrow. After writing, ask ChatGPT to correct your grammar and explain your mistakes in simple English. This is one of the fastest ways to improve because every correction teaches you something practical that you can immediately use again. The 10th day is a special milestone because it gives you an opportunity to look back. Instead of focusing on how far you still have to go, spend a few minutes thinking about how much you have already improved. Perhaps you know more vocabulary than before. Perhaps you speak a little faster. Perhaps you no longer feel afraid of making small mistakes. These changes may seem small individually, but together they represent real progress. Learning English is not about becoming perfect in 10 days. It is about becoming stronger than you were 10 days ago. Throughout these first 10 days, one lesson becomes clearer every day. Consistency is much more powerful than intensity. Studying for 20 focused minutes every day builds stronger habits than studying for 5 hours only once a week. Your brain enjoys regular practice because repeated exposure creates stronger memories and greater confidence. Every day you return to English, you are telling your brain that this skill matters, and your brain responds by making the language easier to understand and easier to remember. As you continue using ChatGPT, remember that it is not only a place to ask questions, it is also a place to practice conversations, improve grammar, expand vocabulary, create speaking exercises, and receive friendly feedback whenever you need it. The more actively you use English, the faster your confidence grows. Reading is valuable, listening is valuable, but speaking and writing complete the learning process because they require you to actively use everything you have learned. Before we finish today's part, I want you to remember one important message. Never measure your progress by comparing yourself with someone who has been learning English for many years. Instead, compare yourself with the person you were 10 days ago. If you can understand more, speak more confidently, or express one new idea today, then you are already succeeding. Language learning is not a race against others. It is a lifelong journey of becoming a better communicator, one conversation at a time. In the next part of our 30-day challenge, we will move into days 11 to 20. During this stage, we will begin thinking directly in English, expanding our conversations, building stronger pronunciation, and learning how to speak more naturally without translating every sentence inside our minds. This is where many learners experience a major breakthrough because English slowly begins to feel less like a subject and more like a natural way of communicating. Part 3, Days 11 to 20. Start thinking and speaking naturally in English. Welcome back to our 30-day English challenge. If you have stayed with me until this point, I want to congratulate you because you have already achieved something that many learners never do. You have shown up consistently. You have practiced, listened, spoken, and continued learning even when English sometimes felt difficult. That simple decision to keep going is already changing your future. During the first 10 days, you built the habit of using English every day. You became more comfortable speaking simple sentences, describing your daily life, and using ChatGPT as your learning partner. Now, we are entering one of the most exciting parts of this journey, because this is where English slowly begins to feel natural instead of forced. During these next 10 days, your goal is no longer to think first in your native language and then translate every sentence. Your goal is to train your mind to think directly in English, one simple thought at a time. Many learners believe that fluent speakers think very quickly because they are naturally talented. In reality, fluent speakers think quickly because their brains have practiced using English thousands of times. Imagine riding a bicycle for the first time. At the beginning, every movement requires your full attention. You think about balancing, steering, and pedaling all at once. After enough practice, however, these actions become automatic. Speaking English develops in exactly the same way. The more often you use simple English in everyday situations, the less you need to translate every sentence inside your mind. From day 11 onward, begin changing the language of your thoughts. As soon as you wake up in the morning, say simple sentences to yourself in English. You might quietly think, "Good morning. Today is going to be a good day. I need to make my bed. After breakfast, I will study English for 20 minutes." These thoughts may seem very simple, but they are creating a new habit inside your brain. Instead of waiting for an English class to begin, your learning starts from the first few minutes of your day. This is one of the easiest ways to surround yourself with English without leaving your home. As you continue your challenge, try speaking about your emotions in English. Throughout the day, ask yourself how you feel. You might say, "I feel excited because I learned something new today." On another day, you might say, "I feel tired, but I will still complete my English practice." Learning emotional vocabulary is extremely useful because conversations are not only about facts. Real conversations are also about feelings, opinions, hopes, and experiences. The more comfortably you can express your emotions, the more natural your English will become. By day 12, begin creating small conversations with ChatGPT. Imagine you are visiting a restaurant, buying clothes, asking for directions, or attending a job interview. Ask ChatGPT to play the role of another person while you answer naturally. If you make mistakes, ask for corrections and simple explanations. Then repeat the conversation one more time using the corrected version. This method teaches you practical English that you can use in real life instead of learning random sentences that you may never need. Another powerful habit during this stage is learning to tell short stories. Every evening, choose one event that happened during your day and explain it in English. Perhaps you visited a market, met a friend, cooked dinner, or watched a movie. Do not worry about making the story perfect. Simply focus on explaining the beginning, the middle, and the ending. Storytelling improves grammar, vocabulary, sentence structure, and confidence all at the same time because it encourages you to connect ideas naturally. Around day 13, begin expanding your vocabulary through curiosity instead of memorization. Whenever you see an object that you cannot name in English, ask ChatGPT to teach you the correct word, its pronunciation, and 2 or 3 simple example sentences. Then immediately use that word while speaking about your surroundings. If you learn the word umbrella, you might say, "I carry an umbrella when it rains," or "My umbrella is black." This approach helps your brain connect vocabulary with real experiences instead of isolated lists. One challenge that many learners face is speaking too quickly because they believe fluency means speed. In reality, clear communication is much more important than fast communication. During these days, practice speaking slowly and clearly. Give yourself enough time to pronounce each word correctly. Pause naturally between ideas, just as native speakers do. As your confidence grows, your speed will improve naturally. There is no need to rush, because every strong foundation is built carefully. By day 15, you have reached the halfway point of this challenge. This is an excellent moment to celebrate your progress. Look back at the first day and compare it with today. You may notice that reading English feels easier, listening requires less effort, and speaking no longer feels impossible. These improvements happened because you continued practicing even when the progress seemed small. Success often arrives quietly It grows day by day until one morning you suddenly realize that something which once felt difficult has become much easier. Now, let us introduce another habit that can make a remarkable difference. Begin recording your voice for 1 or 2 minutes every day. Choose any topic you like and speak naturally. After recording, listen carefully without criticizing yourself. Instead of asking, "Why am I making mistakes?" ask, "What can I improve tomorrow?" You may notice that you repeat the same words too often or pause frequently while searching for vocabulary. These observations are valuable because they show you exactly where your next improvement can happen. During days 16 and 17, start reading short English articles or simple stories aloud. Reading aloud improves pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence because your eyes, ears, and mouth work together. Whenever you discover an unfamiliar word, do not become frustrated. Instead, ask ChatGPT to explain the meaning using simple English and create example sentences. Then return to the article and continue reading. Little by little, difficult passages become easier because your vocabulary continues expanding. One lesson I hope you remember throughout this challenge is that mistakes are not obstacles. They are teachers. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls many times, yet nobody says the child has failed. Everyone understands that falling is simply part of learning. English works in exactly the same way. Every incorrect sentence teaches you how to create a better sentence next time. Every pronunciation mistake helps your mouth become more familiar with English sounds. If you stop fearing mistakes, you remove one of the biggest barriers to speaking confidently. By day 18 and 19, begin asking ChatGPT more interesting questions. Instead of only practicing grammar, ask questions about travel, dreams, hobbies, healthy habits, or future goals. The more meaningful the conversation becomes, the more enjoyable your English practice will feel. Language exists to communicate ideas, not simply to complete grammar exercises. When conversations become interesting, your motivation grows because you begin using English for real communication. As day 20 approaches, spend a few minutes reflecting on your journey. You are no longer the same learner who began this challenge. You have developed stronger habits, greater confidence, and a more positive attitude toward learning. You may still make mistakes, and there are still many things to learn, but that is completely normal. Every fluent speaker continues learning throughout life. The difference is that they enjoy the process instead of fearing it. Before we finish this part, I want to leave you with one simple message. Do not wait for the day when you believe your English is perfect before you begin speaking confidently. Confidence does not appear after perfection. Confidence grows every time you choose to speak despite your imperfections. Every conversation, every practice session, and every small effort is preparing you for opportunities you cannot yet imagine. As we come to the end of this 30-day English challenge, I want you to pause for a moment and think about how far you have come. Whether you practiced every single day or missed a few days along the way, the most important thing is that you chose to begin. Every new word you learned, every sentence you spoke, every mistake you corrected, and every minute you spent practicing has made you a stronger English learner than you were before. Progress is not measured by perfection. It is measured by the courage to keep learning, even when the journey feels slow. Remember that every confident English speaker was once a beginner who decided not to give up. Thank you so much for spending these 30 days with me here on Daniel English Avenue. I truly hope this challenge has inspired you not only to improve your English, but also to believe more deeply in your own ability to learn, grow, and achieve your dreams. If you enjoyed this series, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who is also learning English. Until we meet again in the next podcast, keep practicing, keep smiling, and always remember this simple truth. English is not a talent that only a few people have. It is a skill that anyone can develop with patience, consistency, and the courage to keep going. Your journey has only just begun, and your best English is still waiting for you.